Hey, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Amani Forrester, author of the book 30 Reasons Why Men Deserve Nothing. Now, this book was written to educate women on how to get the most out of relationships with men if you desire long term commitment or marriage. It warned you of red flags, the dangers of settling, going 50-50, and building a man up, among other things. It helps to deprogram you from marrying for love, all those narratives that we were taught as children, and it features plenty of real life studies and data that can be fact checked. It's available right now on Amazon, and you can always read it for free if you have Kindle Unlimited. So, yesterday I found a story in the Am I the A-hole subreddit that led to some very interesting discourse. I'll read you the story and then we'll check out some comments, and I'll give you my commentary as well. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, like this video, and leave a comment. Alright, let's jump into it. So, OP asks, am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend because she is vanilla in bed with only me? So this is from a guy. He says, I, 28 male, was together with my ex-girlfriend, 28 female, for almost 2 years. Our intimate life was okay, though I always wanted more. I wanted to be more aggressive, more adventurous, with costumes and toy plays. On the other hand, she was fine with vanilla intimacy. I had a discussion with her about it once, and once she refused, I respected her decision and did not ask again. Last week, I was on her phone and searching for some home appliances on her browser. I saw a local woman forum in the Open tab. It was this question: those who are together with a good guy, do you regret it? My girlfriend answered stability is good, though sometimes she misses wild times and intimacy. I was baffled. She did not want to do those things with me, even though she misses it. I confronted her and asked if she wants to try out new things without mentioning the forum. She answered no again, and I told her about what I saw. She told me she certainly misses those things, but will not do them with me. She could do them with a hookup, friends with benefits, or someone else, but not me because I am boyfriend material. I told her I'm open to do these things if she misses it, and she rejected. I tried to understand her reasoning for days, but I could not in the end. I also came to the conclusion that we are incompatible, and part of me wanted to do these things. She was my first, while she's had many partners before me, and I didn't get to experience these things like she did. Aftermath was not pretty, but too much drama. I don't want to talk about it here. Am I the a-hole? So, the comment with the most likes, it looks like, with 4.2k likes, is from a woman, and she says, not the a-hole. You two are just incompatible. Her reasoning is flawed, but oh well. I hope you find someone who will match your freak. Another person agreed with her and said marriage should be when you let your freak flag fly and not when you mothball it. Someone else said, what a weird attitude. Is she thinking you're too nice for me to do these crazy sex things with? And then you're going to think less of me? I think this is the rare case of don't F around and find out. Another person said, shit you not, I know a guy who said that about his previous girlfriend and how he loved her so much but couldn't do XYZ with her, but could do them with other women. I don't know, it never made a lick of sense to me. Someone responded to that person and said it's because he thinks some of those who do things like that are sleuths. You know what I mean? And his girlfriend/partner can't be one of those. Finally, somebody pointed out that there's a thing called the Madonna whore complex. It's a psychological phenomenon amongst men where they subconsciously categorize women into two categories: the sexually desirable yet undeserving of respect whore, and the respected and sexually undesired Madonna. Some people think it's related to the way some people are conditioned to view sex as corrupting or defiling, and how that impacts views of women. Maybe this is the same issue, but in reverse. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, that's the case. Somebody says it is. They feed into that whole a wife needs to be prim and proper discourse. Wives aren't meant to be sexual creatures because a wife will be a mother, and mom can't be someone who likes that sort of icky thing. And then someone else said that's the excuse my dad used to cheat, never having sex with his wife because he loved her too much and allegedly can't have sex with people he loves. Another person said, my guess is that she's just not that into OP. She just recognizes that OP will be the stable provider she needs to help raise the quotient of children she's decided on having to fulfill her life plan. Right now, she's letting him satisfy his urges on her at least until he puts a ring on it. Good for you for breaking it off, OP. Any marriage would have been doomed to cheating at best and dead bedroom at worst. Another person is pointing out that there's a psychological phenomenon called the Madonna whore complex in men, where a man has a hard time seeing a woman as both the lovely wife, Madonna, as in the mother of Jesus, and as a sexual person, the quote whore. At the extreme, men suffering this complex wind up having a wife and a lover slash girlfriend, and they're simply incapable of seeing one woman fulfill both roles. I always suspected that the same thing happens with women as well. Either that they stop being the quote whores when they settle into a nice relationship, or become disgusted with the idea of being a quote whore with a man that they are in a lasting relationship with. That is, I always believe that any dysfunction that you see in men, you also see in women, though they may manifest in a different way thanks to cultural expectations. Either way, it sounds like there's something wrong going on here. I can't imagine the breakup would have been pretty because deep down, if a woman believes she cannot be the quote whore in a loving, committed relationship, suggestions she should be would probably register as a fundamental betrayal and even objectification. Me, I'd run for the hills. Someone called her logic flawed, and another person said that this is how cheaters are born. I appreciated this thread in the comments. Somebody said, not the a hole. I've heard this kind of reasoning before in bad relationship advice aimed at women. She thinks being vanilla makes her a good girl who you would want to marry, and that being more aggressive makes her a quote bad girl who you would want to hook up with, but who isn't a good option for long term or serious dating. Usually, this advice also implies that men make this decision subconsciously, so it doesn't matter that you're quote into it. According to this stupid belief system, guys will fall out of love with you the moment that you become the quote bad girl, and then they'll lose interest in anything long term and won't even know why. Honestly, the whole way of thinking is pretty sexist towards both genders. I obviously don't know for sure that this is what's going on, and I'm definitely playing armchair psychologist here, but I would probably appreciate a potential explanation if I were in your position. I'm sorry that you were in this crappy situation. And then somebody tells them, absolutely happened to me. All was amazing and wonderful until I was secure enough to be, quote, bad in bed. Suddenly, if I do things like that for him, what else am I capable of? Where did I learn that sort of thing? Blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I think men should be more careful about what they ask for in the bedroom. And then someone tried to gaslight her, of course, by saying, strong, independent victim. There's a really intelligent comment by Copperhead Medusa who said lots of people just calling her a stuck up B word when this is much, much more likely. She's been taught misogynistic thinking and figures a good man won't want her if she's, quote, nasty. Mind you, there are women who have 100% experienced exactly this, so I don't know why people are pretending that this messed up social dynamic doesn't exist. In another comment, she says, no one has pointed out the internalized misogyny to her. All she knows is her partner is open to doing things if she misses it, and since she's been taught that doing those things will disgust him, she's opting out. Another person said, women break rules for the guys they want, and they make rules for the guys they don't, and they got 1,000 likes. One person said, she is using you for money and other resources, not the a-hole. Find someone who actually wants to be with you and not only the stability you provide her. One person said, not the a-hole, this is why men want low body count women. Women go off and do these sorts of things with other men, but when it's time to settle down, they don't want to do these things with their husband material. Then they grow dissatisfied with their men and seek out those experiences again, or they shut off completely, thus leading to the end of a relationship. And overall, a lot of people just think that she settled and that she wasn't attracted to him. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of my own opinion now. So for me, the most interesting part of the story was definitely the comment section. The situation is giving ramifications of purity culture 100%. Originally, when I read this story, which was last night, I couldn't help but notice how many of the men were co signing OP breaking up with his girlfriend and basically blaming her, writing her off as all sorts of B words, as weird, as an idiot, as a potential cheater in the making, as a user, who just wants his resources. Well, more of the women in the comment section understood that at the root of his ex's feelings was internalized misogyny. His ex suffered from the fear of abandonment and judgment if she was too wild in bed. Within a patriarchy, men are encouraged to mistreat, use, and discard women who they deem to be, quote, whores. And we got to be honest about that. I mean, in a culture that calls sexually liberated women everything from 304s to loose thoughts and coined the term, you can't turn a whore into a housewife, is it any wonder why some women who wish to be wives someday would worry about being seen this way by the men they loved? His ex wanted to present a sanitized, conservative version of herself to her boyfriend, because males these days constantly complain about modern women, their body counts, and their lack of morals. I can't find the comment anymore, but there was a comment originally with a guy who said, no, I do this too. I treat women a certain way, the ones who I want to date long term versus the ones who are just kind of a fling. And he expects his girlfriends to act one way and, the women that he's just with casually to be a whole different way. So it's like they validate what you fear, but also judge you for it. It was really interesting to me how the males in this comment section either pretended not to understand how the patriarchy they love so much hurts everyone within it, or they truly didn't see any correlation, which is even worse in a way. Because males receive so many benefits from the patriarchy, they choose to defend it, even when it's very clearly harming both men and women mentally and physically. This man either wanted out of that relationship and was searching for any reason to leave, or he left a good relationship over an interest that his girlfriend actually shared with him that he just couldn't be bothered to unpack with her. I'm not calling him the a hole. Maybe there isn't one here, I don't know. But in my opinion, I just feel like this guy made himself a single, lonely male by choice. I feel like this relationship was something that could have been worked on if he was really committed to it. But he did point out that, like, she was his first, and I just felt like he kind of felt embittered about that, or maybe insecure or jealous, and just kind of wanted to be in the streets and just see what's out there. That's what this comes off as to me. Like, OP seemed to care more about the kinky bedroom activities that he was missing out on than the woman that he was supposed to love. To me, based on the way he described his conversations with her about this issue, he just didn't seem like he was understanding or patient with her. Like, yeah, he asked her a couple times about his desires and confessed to looking through her phone and finding out that they shared a similar interest in kink. And basically, when she turned him down, he didn't bother her about it again. He didn't really ask or pry. He kind of seethed inwardly for a few days and then decided to break it off. That just doesn't sound like someone who is committed or really cared about the entire relationship. Nowhere does it sound like he sat down and had like a real heart to heart with his girlfriend about why she didn't want to do certain things with him. I really do feel like he could have let her know that he was a safe space for her, that there was nothing wrong or dirty about her thoughts or desires. He could have validated her and eased her insecurities, and better yet, he could have suggested sex therapy to address her internalized misogyny and possibly even any trauma and abandonment issues that maybe she faced with past partners. If at that point she had said no and showed no interest at all in healing or unpacking what she's going through, I could totally understand OP walking away. But he didn't do that. He just seemed quick to dump her because he couldn't get his jollies the way he wanted from her. It really did sound transactional. You can't do this for me as my girlfriend appliance because of your mental hangups? Okay, well, you're a useless tool. I'll just find a better one. And so many people, even women, assured him that, yep, you did the right thing. Just leave her. I don't know, maybe not every relationship's worth putting in that kind of effort. But at the same time, I can't help but thinking maybe OP's ex felt pressured and could sense that OP really didn't care much about her feelings as a person. In any case, I'm glad that they aren't together anymore. Because while I think that they seemed like they could actually be sexually compatible, they definitely weren't emotionally compatible. OP seemed very emotionally vacant and kind of immature. And of course, the ex was not completely faultless herself. She had fear of abandonment, clearly, and other issues that made her closed off and avoidant that had to do with internalized misogyny. I hope she eventually gets therapy for herself and finds a caring, understanding person that she feels comfortable being herself around. Anyway, it's clear that on a subconscious level, the XY and the pick-me's out there who protect the patriarchy love toxic masculinity, shaming women, sexual repression, guilt, hierarchies, shallow relationships, and poor mental health way more than they love therapy, healthy, honest, fulfilling relationships, and working on relationships. I don't know. It's just sad how the patriarchy destroys relationships by ruining the way that men see women and that women see themselves. And it's disturbing how insidious it is because while it does destroy mental health and self perception of the population, hardly anyone takes notice. And instead, people will blame those who are victims of the system for their flawed, messed up mindset without ever tying it back to the flawed, messed up system. Anyway, I don't want this to get too long. I'd love to know your thoughts on this topic and the Reddit story. Please leave your comments below. Please leave your experiences below if you have any. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.